Stop it.
As I headed for my first business meeting of the afternoon, I heard a woman's voice near the turnstiles at the subway station I'd just gotten off at. Looking towards the voice, I saw a man bothering a woman with long hair. He was wearing a suit but seemed drunk, not behaving like your typical businessman.
Come on, lady, spend some time with me. I've got money.
The man was now, shockingly, slapping the woman's cheek with a wad of cash.
How about $300?
Stop it. I'll call the cops.
Cops, just because an old guy like me talks to a young girl, it's a crime.
Seeing the man grab the woman's arm, I felt I couldn't just stand by and watch. Excuse me, but what you're doing isn't right. The woman looked up at me as if seeking help. Nodding in response to her plea, she pushed the man's hand away.
Oh, are you her boyfriend or something?
No, just a passerby.
Then mind your own business. Or were you after this lady too?
Annoyed by the man's crude laugh, I took out my phone. I'm calling the police. Suddenly, as if he'd snapped back to reality, the man lunged at me, trying to grab my phone.
Don't meddle in this.
Stop it. I felt his boozy breath close to me and then, out of nowhere, he headbutted me. Ouch. I felt a sharp pain deep inside my nose, and the next thing I knew, blood was pouring out.
Help! Someone help!
Hearing the woman scream, the man threw away my phone and bolted.
I'm so sorry this happened because of me.
You're not to blame. Don't worry about it, I replied, thinking about how I would now be heading to a business meeting with a bloodied face.
Here, use this.
The woman handed me a handkerchief while I was trying to stop the nosebleed. It had a beautifully embroidered four-leaf clover on it. It's too pretty to use.
It's meant to be used, not just kept as decoration.
She wiped the blood from my face with the handkerchief.
You were on your way to work, right? I'm really sorry.
Suddenly remembering the time, I checked my watch and gratefully said, "Thank you," taking the handkerchief.
Contact me if your injury gets worse.
She then handed me a business card. It read Sarah Sullivan, and even with the title CEO on it. You're a CEO?
Just a one-woman show. Started my own business in college. I develop apps.
Wow, that's impressive. Oh, well, I'm off to work then. I'll wash and return the handkerchief.
No need to worry about that. Thank you, and good luck with your work.
Both nodded to each other in acknowledgement. I rushed off to meet my customer. The company I worked for dealt with medical equipment. This meant my clients were primarily hospitals and research facilities. My visit today was scheduled for a major local hospital in Chicago. I arrived at the reception just in the nick of time and was immediately escorted to the administrative director's office. Thank you for making time for me today. I handed over my business card as a gesture of greeting, but the director's gaze seemed to drift off upon seeing my face, and the initial smile had disappeared. Today, I've brought the detailed brochure about the genetic testing kit we discussed last time. I showed him the presentation documents I had prepared and continued to explain patiently and comprehensively. However, the director's response wasn't very enthusiastic. It seemed as though he wasn't listening. Moreover, our eyes didn't meet. The director's gaze seemed to be fixed slightly below my eyes. Please do consider my proposal.
Understood.
Do you have any question?
No, I got the gist of it, but...
What is it?
Well, in the medical field, we always want to treat human bodies and lives with the utmost care and respect.
I was taken aback by the sudden shift in conversation but nodded earnestly.
That should be the case even outside of a medical setting.
Yes, I believe it's a noble approach.
I'd like not only my staff, but also vendors who visit our hospital to embrace this mindset.
Of course.
So, why is there blood on the collar of your shirt? Did you get into a fight or something?
I was taken aback. I had checked myself in the restroom mirror at the station. I had wiped off the blood on my face. My nose was slightly swollen but looked fine, and I had even used a damp handkerchief Sarah had lent me to soothe the area. But I hadn't noticed the blood splatter on my collar. That was where the director's gaze had been fixed all along. I deeply apologize for causing any discomfort. I recounted the incident at the station. I had intervened when a woman was being harassed by a drunk man and ended up getting headbutted, causing my nose to bleed. The director, who seemed skeptical of my story, changed his expression when I took out the handkerchief I had borrowed.
Can I see that handkerchief?
Sure, but I haven't washed it yet.
It's fine. You don't have any blood-borne diseases, right?
Oh no, I'm okay. I hesitantly handed over the damp handkerchief. Upon seeing the clover embroidery and the initials sewn into the handkerchief, the director nodded.
Did you catch the name of the woman who gave this to you?
Yes, she gave me her business card. It's Sarah Sullivan. While speaking, I glanced at the director's name tag. It read Kevin Sullivan. They shared the same surname, Sullivan. Oh, your name is Sullivan too. Could it be?
Yes. Sarah is my daughter. So you are the one who helped Sarah and got hurt.
No, I didn't really get hurt, and I wouldn't say I helped. I just kind of butted in.
I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions, thinking it was a fight without even asking why. I was very rude. I apologize.
No, not at all. We both apologized and said not to worry to each other. We both realized this and laughed.
Not because of this, but I'll be sure to read your presentation thoroughly and contact you later.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. For a moment, I was on edge, but in the end, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Later on, I received a message from Sarah. We decided to meet up at a cafe. I washed and ironed the handkerchief I had dirtied, but I also prepared a new one as a gift.
You didn't have to give me such a gift. I should be the one thanking you.
No, I've already received a gift from you.
What do you mean?
I explained to Sarah how her handkerchief had helped clear the misunderstanding about the fight and, on top of that, helped me land a job.
Oh, that's what happened. My dad didn't tell me anything about it. But maybe that's why.
What do you mean?
Suddenly, he called me yesterday and told me not to casually hand out business cards with my personal information on them.
Hearing this, I broke out in a cold sweat internally. He was probably talking about me. No matter that I had ended up helping his daughter, I might have been a man with ulterior motives. Does he see that possibility in me?
I told him I didn't hand them out casually and only gave them to people I felt comfortable with. Then he said, "So you liked him too?" And I had no idea what he was talking about.
Now I had to be careful not to smirk. It seems that Kevin, Sarah's father, has been very kind to me, and I'm very grateful.
Dad seems to like you, Bob. He always appreciates people who act selflessly for others. Isn't it common for people to avoid unpleasant tasks and push them onto others? He just can't stand that.
I used to be like that too. I always thought someone else would handle the tasks I didn't want to. But after joining my current company and seeing the actions of a colleague I admire, I realized I had to change. That colleague always took the initiative, even for tasks outside of his official duties, like cleaning or giving guidance to younger employees. I've been lucky with my company. Everyone around me is great. Everyone works with passion, which has a positive effect on the entire team. Everyone naturally takes the initiative in their work, and it turns into joy instead of pain. Seeing that made me want to change for the better.
That's a wonderful mindset.
From that point, Sarah and I occasionally went out for meals and drinks as friends, and a few months later, we started dating. Of course, I also paid a visit to her father, Kevin, to formally introduce myself, and he readily gave his blessing.
You'll always help people in need in the future, right, Pop?
Of course, that's how I want to be. Even if I could go back in time and see you in trouble again, I'd still want to help, but try not to get into any trouble, okay?
I know.
At that moment, as we were walking in the park, a child fell and started crying in front of us.
Are you okay? You scraped your knee.
Sarah immediately approached the child. A young boy, about 3 years old, had a small scrape on his knee with a bit of blood. Looking around, there was no sign of his parents. Let's wash that off at the faucet. Okay, I'll carry you. I picked up the boy and carried him to a nearby water fountain.
It might sting a bit, but hang in there.
Sarah took out a handkerchief, wetted it, and gently wiped the boy's scrape. The boy bravely tried to hold back his tears, looking so pitifully endearing. As I watched, I was reminded how this handkerchief from Sarah shaped our destiny. After a while, the little boy's parent came rushing over. It was a mom holding another little child. She'd lost sight of her kid for a moment and he'd run off, so she was searching worriedly for him. She repeatedly thanked me, and then left with her still tear-faced boy. In that boy's hand, he held Sarah's handkerchief. Maybe he's got a crush on you, too.
If so, I'd be honored.
I took Sarah's hand and we began to walk. Guess I'll have to get Sarah a new handkerchief soon. And I'm thinking of getting her to adorn that generous hand of hers that brings kindness to others.